What are some interesting or fun Christmas traditions you follow? So, one holiday we watched a TV show where they showed weird Christmas traditions all over the world, and covered the Christmas pickle. Little backstory, they said it is a tradition in the US to hide a pickle in the tree, and whoever finds it first on Christmas Day gets to unbox his presents first. Important, they also stated that Americans believe this is a German tradition. Well, it happens that I am German, and we live in Germany, and we never heard of that before. Neither has anybody I know. But after 2 days, when we finished laughing, we decided to give it a shot or hid a pickle in the tree. It has been years since, and we still do it. In Spain, each year, the 22nd December we hold the National Lottery Christmas Special Draw. The extraction of the balls is nationwide broadcasted, featuring kids from a school in Madrid announcing in a singing tone the awarded numbers. It's beautiful, it's unique in the world, and millions of Spanish people follow it eagerly every year. We put all the gifts under the Christmas tree, then one person goes to fetch one and give it to the one with their name on it. Then, the one who got the gift gets up, go fetch another one, and gives it to the one with their name on it, and so on. This tradition of ours started when someone in the family could only be here for the afternoon, and we've kept up with it ever since. It's also very useful now that our grandparents are getting way too old to let us stay for the night. On 25th every offspring of my mother's parents is coming to their house to celebrate together. We always eat roast duck, and my grandpa, drinker and not always an easy person, used to ask if the duck is salted from the inside. 6 years ago he died from cancer, and now it's like a tradition that someone asks us if the duck is salted from the inside while we're eating together. I can't remember much of my grandpa, but it's nice to remember together on Christmas tree. We swap lunch and dinner. So around noon we sit down with the family to eat a big meal, and in the evening we have some lighter food. It started that way because Mum didn't want to spend her entire afternoon in the kitchen, and didn't want to spend her morning planning to get everything done in time. It stuck because it's actually nice to not have to go to bed with a super full belly, and just being able to chill in the evening. My mum, 75, and dad, 85, always pick the ugliest Christmas tree they can find because they feel sorry for the uggos that are left behind. All our Christmas decorations are also old, broken and tangled, and they just get put in clumps next to the trunk and not on the branches. I wouldn't have the tree any other way. Every Christmas me and my sister make my mom pin a blanket up blocking the view of the living room, so we can't see until after breakfast. I've never enjoyed rushing through Christmas, because it makes me feel greedy. My boyfriend and I met at Starbucks, and every year we've been together we've bought a Starbucks bauble with the year on it. This year was a difficult one to get hold of it, but we did. We also normally have a Christmas Eve cinema trip with my parents and siblings, but sadly this year that's not happening. When my son was 11 we had wrapped an Xbox game in an empty Cheez-It box, which was then wrapped in Christmas paper. He ripped off the paper and squealed, "Cheez-Its," and then ripped open the box to disappointedly discover there was only a $40 game from his list to Santa. As parents we got a good chuckle, and now he and our daughter over the past 15 years actually get Cheez-Its cleverly wrapped as a running joke, and they look forward to it. We play a game we call Left Right. Each year one person in the family is nominated to write a short story about our family members, which includes the words left and right many times. We all bring a small wrapped present to lunch. Then we read the story out loud, and each time the words left or right are mentioned in the story everyone has to pass the present they are holding to the person beside them in that direction. As the story goes on the presents are passed left or right many times, and then at the end you get to open the present you are now holding. The stories are often hilarious, with reminders of things that have happened during the year. We read the story fairly quickly and things get pretty rowdy sometimes. We've tried to keep the stories each year and have a little collection going now. The day after Christmas the whole family would meet at my grandma's place. Every aunt, uncle and cousin. Everyone would bring food, some brought dinner, some brought dessert, there were tons of food. We all thanked each other for the gifts we received, and had a great time together. My grandma had 8 kids, all married, and almost 20 grandkids. It's safe to say the house was pretty full. Smile. We kept that tradition going for 34 years. This year for the winter solstice I went for a swim in the sea at sunrise, burned a small Christmas tree on the beach, fried some food up, and chilled with some friends. It was glorious. There were a few years when I was young, maybe ages 9 to 11, when we had 2 Christmases. December 25th was the standard Santa and relatives gifts, January 6th was just for immediate family and everything had to be handmade. Mom got lots of those woven loop pot holders from my sister and me. Dad had a garage wood shop so he made us toys. As an artist I've done it several times in my adult life, although on the 25th of December. We should start that up again, though. The fairies would come on Christmas Eve just after we had finished getting our showers/baths. They would chap the door and leave a parcel on the doorstep that was new pajamas to wear to bed. As much as we tried we could never catch them. If we waited at the door they would go to the back and vice versa. It stopped when my granddad got too old to run away fast enough. Smiley face. My family used to do a second Christmas about halfway through January. We'd buy stuff in the Boxing Day sales, mostly cheap novelty stuff. The whole point was focusing on fun rather than having a list or anything. We used to have a tacky present competition. It's coming back this year, once COVID is done with. Cinnamon rolls from a tube on Christmas morning. New pajamas the night before. My parents also had a really old copy of The Night Before Christmas we read every Christmas Eve. Getting gifts for the pets. Mom would always buy candy for the mail person and the trash people. When I was young Mom would take my sis and I to do the angel tree, and shop for a less fortunate kid. She would also bought some kid a Game Boy SP one year. Instead of a Christmas tree, my dad puts up an aluminium pole. We then eat dinner and discuss how each person disappointed us throughout the year. At the end of the meal my dad chooses someone to wrestle to see who is the strongest person in the family. It's a wild tradition but I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a relatively new tradition I've started. I started this in 2018. I take a year-end vacation and don't work in the last week of the year. Use the time to recenter myself and prepare for the coming year. This time I'm not going anywhere because of COVID and all, but I plan to spend the year-end watching travel vlogs and eating alone. When I was a kid, we used to go to our neighbor's mom's house for Christmas Eve dinner. She was French so she used to pay me a little extra attention since my name is Joie. I'm not French and can't speak it. My mom just thought it was a creative way to name a girl, so she'd always greet me with Joyeux Noël, Joie. I'd always get a kick out of it. She was rather religious and would have us all gather around the fireplace and say our Father prayer while she said it in French, and we'd all take turns saying a prayer for the new year over the Yule log. For dessert, she'd bring out these amazing homemade Yule logs ornately decorated with merengue mushrooms and woodland creatures, and we'd all get a slice while she handed us a gift. I always found it thoughtful since we weren't even her own grandkids, but she still made sure to make us feel included. We've all grown up and moved away and she has since passed, but I always think of her fondly every year, and even though I'm not all that religious, I still say my own prayer over the fire on Christmas Eve. I'll have a lot to pray for this year. Joyeux Noël, everyone. After Christmas, usually on New Year's, we'd cut up the Christmas tree and burn it. Then we'd save a partially burnt log and leave it on the mantle and use it to start the fire for the Christmas tree next year. As a little kid it always felt really solemn, almost like a holy ritual. On Christmas Eve, all of the little ones go outside to put out food, birdseed, for Santa's reindeer. In the morning when they wake up, they see reindeer poop, marshmallows and glitter, scattered on the ground. This is in addition to the milk and cookies for Santa. My aunt always hides a pickle ornament on the tree and whoever finds it gets an extra gift. My parents were a little crazy, welcoming my brother 16 months after having surprise twins, myself and my sister, and then a fourth baby 18 months after that. 4 kids in 3 years, starting 9 months after they got married at 21 and 22. We lived in a small apartment, the story goes, where my mom and dad would switch their bedroom, biggest room in the house, with the living room every year at Christmas to have space for the tree and presents. This also helped keep 4 of us out of the tree, since we would have to walk past our sleeping parents to get to it. One year my mom had fallen behind on wrapping and stayed up past midnight to get everything finished. I guess my dad was a heavy sleeper because in the pre-dawn hours he missed my brother, who was a little over 2, toddle out of his room, through the living room, which was now where my parents were sleeping, and into the front room, acting as a living room, catching my mom in the act of laying out presents. My brother was so excited by the stuff and so young that he didn't realize what was happening. My mom thought on her feet and woke us all up, telling us that Santa had just left and to come see our presents. She continued the tradition every year after that, waking us up between 2 to 4 a.m. to see what Santa had left us. It has been 10 years since the last time I slept home on Christmas Eve, but my sisters were both able to make every year, until this one, and they made a point of waking my nephews up the same way my mom woke us.